I wonder which fish we should add to Kokomi's aquarium. That's going to be kind of a difficult one. Oh, hi everyone. I didn't see you guys over there. But yeah, it's been 3 weeks since we last uploaded a video. TLDR is old PC got fried. I ordered a new one, waited a bit, and here we are. So let's look at Kokomi in even higher resolution and detail. Oh, it's actually kind of like astonishing to see Kokomi like this because my old PC was like 6 years old. Notwithstanding, tomorrow is Snezhnaya. Snezhnaya is dropping tomorrow. We're going to cover it. It's going to be pretty awesome. But before we get to it, and we're all waiting on the maintenance to finish, let's go over the Fontinalia event here in Genshin Impact, because I thought for a summer event, this was pretty good in my opinion, because it was very different. As you can see, my aquarium has been filled to the brim. I've kind of completed all of the tasks that you can do, collected all of the rewards, upgraded all of the things that you can do. I didn't go for a record 99999 whatever total earnings because I wasn't that bored. I still had a life outside of this, but I think for the last 3 or 4 weeks, 20 minutes a day, that was pretty much more than enough to get through the stories and through the majority of this. What you're seeing in the background is just me on the final day completing the final Citroen commission, and honestly, overall, this event I think was pretty fun because what it allowed us to do was replay some of the old things. Now, of course, this is not going to be a Kokomi clan video if we don't do something out of bounds and glitchy a bit later on in the video as well. But basically, for those of you that are interested, I've just sped up the background footage. This is how the entire insides of Raisley's ship kind of looks. It's pretty cool, and there's the little stage underneath for parts of the story with Elaine and Sandro, if you've seen it. And then yeah, the aquarium itself doesn't actually have water in it. It's mostly more like the creatures are flying in the air, which is kind of funny. So if you're interested to know how I got Kokomi in the aquarium, well, this is basically the TLDR of it. It's kind of funny and cool to be able to do this. So yeah, that's kind of how I did it. Okay, so now let's quickly review the event. Maybe some people haven't played it, some people are only back for Snezhnaya, but certainly I thought this event was kind of fun. So to kick it off, the whole event was centered around you doing quests and diving underwater. I have a certain friend, and I know immediately that if she were still playing Genshin Impact, she would absolutely hate this event because, like it or not, the underwater combat and stuff is you either like it or you get nauseous, and it's kind of a slog to get through. I kind of really liked it. I also think that with my PC upgrade, the pristineness of the colors and everything on my monitor was just like absolutely gorgeous, and it was so cool being able to replay the Fontaine region, because this is the thing, if you don't get this replayability after you've cleared it out, it's almost like a lot of the regions and space in Genshin become dead. So the ability to now have a bit of a fresh take, and I think more importantly being able to dive for treasure, fight off enemies, and even having an end game mode where enemies become tougher as a result, and you're having to manage your resources, there's a timer ticking off. That was incredibly cool. And obviously, as you go underwater, you complete commissions, you get some materials, and you upgrade your ability so you can last longer. And what I found cool about the ability tree and stuff was that you weren't pigeonholed. You really had a lot of freedom of choice to be able to do what you want. And obviously for players that might struggle, there was a recommended route. But overall, you could tell that the balance was cool because certain abilities definitely gave you an advantage, especially against some of the bosses. Mostly the damage upgrades would be what a lot of people would go for, but you know me, I went for the more difficult option by having lower damage but more agility and speed to try and outmaneuver the bosses. Although I did find that in some cases you kind of had to play into the mechanics of the boss, otherwise you would run out of time and then your health would start ticking and then you would lose. And I've also had a couple of fun failures or like just like near misses, and then you can only take like a very small portion of your loot out, which was it had its ups and downs. So there were definitely tight moments, and I think those moments where you're panicking and you just want to know, and you know you have to get out of the water, those were the best moments. But in any case, I also like the idea that you can dive for loot. You don't know really when you get it. You just have to kind of open a lot of chests and clams and stuff. And you can see here the ability to just decorate the hall is so cool because it always gave you something to work towards, which is what I really, really enjoyed. And I also think the fact that you can go into the aquarium and decorate the fishes however you like. I mean, this is just one configuration of many. I'm pretty sure there are people that are better online that have already kind of like put together amazing aquariums. So it's cool that you have a lot of freedom and choice, and also freedom and choice in terms of how you want to tackle the various types of mini games. So you could have done something, you can see there at the bottom, you could have done the main quest if you wanted to, and obviously the main quest stays even after this event. So these little free books, you're still going to have it, so you'll still be able to experience the ship and Snezhnaya and Columbina's story if you haven't, or if you haven't been spoiled already on YouTube. But obviously, when it comes to the event itself, there were lots of cool mini games that I think really enhanced the experience. And it's almost like you can do the main quest on their own, on its own after the event, but you're not going to get the same experience because a lot of different characters do visit the boat. They do comment on the aquarium and stuff like that, and it really made the whole event feel narratively kind of tight and cohesive. I kind of like that kind of a lot. So I thought this is one of the better events from a narrative perspective because it just felt like, oh, people come on board and they comment and so on, which was really, really cool. One of the things that we obviously had was the diving underwater, but we also had the ability to play a couple of mini games to earn a lot of cash. In this case, if you dove like underwater and got a lot of bait or enough bait, you could engage in this mini game. I quickly figured out that for this mini game, you just spam very, very quickly once you upgrade your net. I'm just joking. But there is a bit of a meta to playing it, which was kind of also fun and rewarding in its own way. But what was cool about that mini game with the fishing is that you couldn't just spam it. You had to go dive, get enough bait, and then you would have been given the chance to earn money. So it wasn't like you can just spam the mini game. It's also with this event where Kokomi is now the saleswoman, and she had to sell a bunch of things that you dove and dug up from underneath the ocean. I thought that concept was really, really cool because you had like a bag, you could only carry so much loot. So after repeated dive sessions, you would then have enough to go and sell. And then you had a lot of customers and you had to quickly kind of like sell them stuff. And sometimes they would want the thing that's not in front of you, but something else. So you had to replace it. So this was also a very nice little mini game. It's not a mini game that you can spam. You had to literally earn the loot that you're going to sell. Some people might not like that, but I think personally it was a nice way to give you your own unique experience and also to try and go for gold. So do you pick up more expensive items but fill your bag quicker? Or do you pick up a lot of little trash items in the beginning just so that you can get those upgrades, get a bigger bag, and then accelerate your profits later on? So there's lots of... the one thing about these little management games is that it begets its own meta after a while. And I've certainly seen people on YouTube being far more creative and doing things that I didn't even think were possible, and they could literally complete the event in probably half the amount of time that I did. But I just did this more for enjoyment than trying to purely optimize the heck out of it. So overall, honestly, I thought this event was pretty cool. Some people might not like the absence of combat, although in that sense, I feel like for a minigame, if we're gonna go the minigame route, I thought it was pretty comprehensive, it was pretty extensive, and I had a lot of fun. I think the ocean, the aquarium theme, and all of it just also fitting with Kokomi, my favorite character, for me at least, made it like pretty cool. So that's it, everyone. That's what I have for you in today's video. But for those of you that want to stick around for the true end game in this event, well, I've got a bit of a treat for you as well. In true Kokomi clan fashion, I wouldn't be me if there wasn't some sort of glitch that we can uncover in this event. And this is part of the fun endgame. I'll talk about the endgame for the event as well as we go through the rest of the video. But what you'll notice here in the background is me doing a series of little menu hops in the background, and this effectively allows me to get my own name to appear above Kokomi's head. And the entire screen is basically blank. There's no menu showing up. So you might be like, well, okay, What's up with this? Just hold on a bit. So this is a very special case where, like a lot of you know, that in co-op you can see on another person's character their name appear, but in single player mode, to get this right actually unlocks a couple of special things. So right now the game thinks we're busy inside the ship with an event, whereas in actuality we are outside. I'll cover this glitch in maybe a bit of a future video, but you'll immediately notice that for certain characters, and there are actually very few of these characters, but most notably Shilonen, Mualani, and Chaska, you have the infinite E ability or glitch that is now active. And this for me was an incredible amount of fun. So whilst I perhaps like spent 12 hours in total on the ship and doing all that stuff, I probably spent like 36 hours just using this glitch and going all over Teyvat. And I was just like, oh, damn it. I wish I could tell people about it because I had the footage. I just didn't have the PC to kind of help, like, to actually make the videos. But in any case, when my PC came like about a week ago and so on, I quickly just spent the last week doing all sorts of cool things, going to the moon and so on. So definitely look forward in future videos for some of these little fun mishaps and misadventures. And also for a bit of like custom modeling that I've been doing with Kokomi as well. So I think people will enjoy that once that project is finished in Blender. Notwithstanding, so this glitch in and of itself is so cool because you can now do infinite skills on the moon, and the moon is much more fun place from, in my opinion, than Teyvat. So this allows you to just you can just do all sorts of crazy wacky things. I'll let the background footage play out. So let's just get back to our main topic. So whilst I enjoyed a bit of a different form of endgame with the event and glitching out, the one thing that I must say I think the event did really well compared to the other management events that they did in the past was give us a proper endgame with the whole pollution thing. In other words, you had to go back underwater and then fight stronger enemies. You had to hunt down only certain, I think, Numa mechs and stuff to survey, patrol the attack mech, and they only appeared like during the pollution phase where your health kind of like ticks down. And they've also had their like own little mini game. They were harder to tackle, and you had to go through a bunch of hoops to try and get the mech. That is really, really cool for me to be able to tell people, hey, you can clear the main event, you can get all the primos you want, you can stop now. But for those of you that are interested, we've got a whole commission series that's just about you effectively replaying the event, refighting the bosses, but now at a much more higher and more difficult level. I think that's the kind of satisfaction you get, and it's really what made the event so cool to me, because it's not just another tick box. It's almost like you now have something that you can work towards. So when I did the initial event like 4 weeks or whatever ago, I hadn't completed the end game, but being able to do the end game in these last like 8-9 days was just so satisfying, because it gave me a reason to replay the event as well, which I really liked. So in that sense, the overall difficulty, the added challenge that you had, and so on, man, that was just so good. So in my opinion, I wish Hoyo can do more of these things, and certainly what we've seen from Snezhnaya with the Traveler and the gun and so on is that we are going to get a bit more of like dynamic gameplay elements. I think the problem for Genshin in the past was that they created a lot of mini games, and some of these were very much hit or miss. And I think that's what they're trying to fix going forward in Snezhnaya and so on. And certainly with this event as well, people will have their criticism. Some people might not even like this gameplay at all, which is kind of fair. I think Genshin is very good at throwing random stuff and hoping and seeing what kind of like sticks. But generally, the quality of what they've put out, certainly compared to some of the interesting things I've seen in Millie Astro Wonderland, with this game mode at least, was like pretty cool. So that's a big positive. So yeah, guys, that is where we stand. It's kind of crazy how much Genshin has changed, and that's actually one of the things in my off time that I was also thinking about is Genshin's changed a lot, and this means the type of content you can create on it is not necessarily just going to be full meta, full a combat, but there's so many other cool things that we can tackle, and obviously it's not going to be for everyone. So in that regard, I do have a couple of plans going forward that I'll share in terms of like video ideas and reorganizing bits on the channel. So for people that are interested in meta, they'll get that. For people that are interested in these goofy glitches, we will show that to them. And then for people that just stick around for all the videos, and probably you're going to be, if you're listening to this, you're that type of person. Thank you so much for just like sticking around. Thank you for clicking on this video, because I know the YouTube algorithm punishes people very, very heavily if you don't upload like every week. So a comment and the like would just be absolutely awesome. And yeah, let's see what we can do. Let's see what happens in Snezhnaya and Genshin. I'm really, really curious. I kind of like promised 3 years ago, whatever, I think in the Sumru Desert, that I would stick it out until Snezhnaya ends. So until that time, I mean, I'm still going to be around on YouTube. And if you've got things or ideas or things that you want to know, do let me know all about that. But yeah, overall, I mean, I've been pretty happy these last few weeks, and it's just been one hell of an adventure. Oh, man, there's been so many good, cool things that I've also done with Kokomi. But alright, everyone, I'll see you on the Snezhnaya side, and yeah, it's going to be quite an adventure. Have a good day. Cheers.